Hey everyone, this is Veronica, your favorite culinary dietitian. Thank you all for coming back to watch another episode of my cooking show. Today we're going to be preparing one of my favorite greens. We're going to be making a collard green salad. And can I just tell you how much I love collard greens. Why do I love collard greens? They are a staple of the African diaspora. You can find them in, of course, soul food in the American South, but you can find them in West Africa in different preparations, such as like in Liberian food, they have something called potato greens that uses collard greens or other dark leafy greens. You can travel to the Caribbean, to like Trinidad, and get kalaloo that can be made with collard greens or other dark leafy greens. And then you can go to Brazil and dance some samba and eat some collard greens there too. Culturally, it's a great food, but also nutrition-wise, it's a wonderful thing to add to anybody's diet. Collard greens are a great source of beta carotene, which turns into vitamin A in our bodies. Great source of vitamin K, great source of fiber, calcium, iron. So it's just a great overall thing to eat. So usually, at least in soul food, collard greens are kind of cooked to death with, sometimes you can do smoked turkey, but sometimes fat back, or cooked with pork. But this is a healthy preparation that's actually raw. So we're gonna jump right in. And what I'm going to do here in my handy dandy red bowl is make a salad dressing, and then we're going to put our greens into them. What I love about my local grocery store is that they have pre-washed collard greens that are already shredded, so you don't have to do all that work. Like back in the day, before collard greens became as popular, you'd have to buy bunches of collard greens, and it took a lot of time to clean them, to remove the tough stems, any bugs that might have been in there. So this is a great convenience to have them already bagged and washed and prepped for you. I do still rinse them myself and check over them just in case, but for the most part, they're great. And so what I did was add a little bit of salt and some lemon juice, some fresh squeezed lemon juice, to help soften and wilt the greens, so it'll be better like when you're actually eating the preparation that's not so tough. Let's start with our dressing. We're going to start off with apple cider vinegar, and this is raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. We're going to do 2 tablespoons. So a lot of people, apple cider vinegar has a lot of health benefits that people tout. And I've seen people take shots of apple cider vinegar or maybe drink it diluted with some water and maple syrup. But I find that to be too strong and astringent, like burns going down, and it's really not necessary in order to get the health benefits. So this is a good way to get your apple cider vinegar in, and the mother, this little cloudy, those beneficial, it's beneficial bacteria back there in here, just like in yogurt, that's really good for your gut health. That paired with the fiber and the collard greens, you're doing your body a favor. Then we're going to add some Dijon mustard. We're going to put about a teaspoon of the Dijon mustard. I'm using the same tools, the same measuring spoon, so I don't have to wash another spoon. And we're going to do equal parts, because the apple cider vinegar and the Dijon mustard can be kind of strong, intense flavors. I'm going to add a little bit of agave nectar, which is a sweetener, and you can add honey if you want, but to keep this dish completely vegan, which it is vegan, you can use the agave nectar, and adds like a nice sweetness to it. Then I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. We only need a little bit because we already salted I put about a teaspoon of salt in the greens to wilt them, so we don't need much salt in the dressing. And I'm going to do fresh cracked pepper. I always recommend getting the peppercorns yourself and grinding it yourself, because it has much better flavor than having pepper that's already ground, and we don't know how long it's been in the grocery store on the shelf. So do it yourself. So I'm just going to whisk all this together so it's evenly incorporated. If you want a little bit more of a kick to your dressing, you can add some crushed red pepper flakes, or maybe a little bit of cayenne pepper. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with just the black pepper. I got a good quality olive oil. I always recommend, of course, the extra virgin olive oil is cold pressed. So I'm just going to drizzle it in. I'm eyeballing it. But let's say it's about equal parts, so it's about 2 tablespoons. So before I put the greens in, I'm gonna just taste it to make sure the seasoning and everything is right. It's actually really good. It's still strong, and you definitely taste the apple cider vinegar and the Dijon, but once you put it'll hold up really well with the greens will really hold up to this strong flavor, and the other additions to the dish will also be great. And add our wilted collard greens. Put that to the side. So I'm gonna just take the tong and mix everything. Okay. This is one of those dishes that that do really well the longer you let it sit. So all the flavors can kind of come together, but also the greens can wilt a little bit more. I'm gonna add a little bit more sweetness. I took a Braeburn apple. This is my favorite kind of apple. It's not too tart, not too sweet. It's the right texture. It's not mealy like a Red Delicious. So I'm just gonna cut it into slices. And then let's do our half moons. I'm gonna save this to eat. And the great thing about the salad, you know how apples can turn brown when they're exposed to the air? Because this salad has so much acidity to it, you don't have to worry about that happening. And here I have some some half moons of red onion. So we're probably gonna use about maybe 1/3 of a cup. It adds nice color and also like a nice little bite. That looks good. I'm gonna mix this all together. Mix it all. It's a pretty simple recipe. So the last thing that we're gonna do to add a little bit more nutrition and texture, we have about 2/3 of a cup of walnuts. They were dry, unsalted, unroasted walnuts that I toasted in the pan for a little bit. You really don't want to watch it because the first time I tried to do this, I burned them. And I don't want you to make that same mistake. So definitely watch, keep moving the pan and watch them while you're toasting them. It goes pretty quickly. It's a rough chop. If you have any other nut that you like cashews or pecans, they will also go well in the salad. But I chose walnuts today because walnuts are a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for your heart health. I'm gonna mix it just a little bit, but not too much because I want, for presentation's sake, I want them to be kind of on the top. For best flavor, I would let this sit for at least 20 minutes to let everything kind of come together, all the flavors. If you have even longer than that, you have an hour or two, or if you're having a dinner party or something, you can prep this first and let it sit while you prep everything else, and then it'd be perfect. But just for the sake of our show, I'm going to taste a little bit and see how it all comes together. Make sure I have a little bit of everything for the perfect bite. It's so good. It's tangy, it's crunchy, it's slightly sweet, and you got the crunch from the pecans. It's just a perfectly composed salad. I hope that you take this idea and run with it. Like all of the recipes that you'll see on my show are just a roadmap. I hope you get ideas and you can mix and match, and if you don't like collard greens, maybe you want to do kale or rainbow chard. If just like you don't want the walnuts, you can do pecans and other nuts. Or if you don't like apples, you can do pears. Like whatever it is. So, but I hope you've got a lot of good ideas, and I hope to see you back soon.